Yeah.
İskoçya'da seçimler nasıl oluyor?
Yeah, there's different ways that we can vote. Usually, we can just maybe 1 month before the election, you will get your voting card, which is just the details of your details. This is your ID that you would take to the polling station.
Postayla mı geliyor? So they are sending it to
They
you.
send it to your house. This is not your
Every-
voting form. No, not everything. This is just your ID that you take with you. This is a special card
Tamam.
for everybody that is eligible to vote.
Nasıl söylüyorsunuz? How do you call that card?
Usually we call it a voting card.
Seçmen kartı. Okay.
But it is just to show that you are eligible to vote and you have a vote. So when you go to the polling station, you will bring this card with you and they will check it against your ID, and then they will give you your ballot paper. So the ballot paper will have the list of candidates who
Okay.
you are voting for, and it will show their names and the parties that they stand for.
Okay. Buraya kadar aynı gibi. So bizde de eve seçmen kartı geliyor ve seçmen kartı ile beraber okullara gidiyorsunuz. Ballot boxes, they are in the classes.
Yeah, normally there will be a voting station that is set up in either in a school or a community center, some government building.
Sadece okullar değil.
Yeah. So it could be a school, it could be a community center, it could be whatever. Whatever is usually used, whatever is suitable and appropriate. But there are many of these set up all around the community. What they do, so normally the voting is open from 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. at night.
Akşam 10'a kadar açık. Wow.
So it is open, and this is open long enough to give everybody a chance to get to use their vote, because some people are working. Traditionally, elections in the UK and Scotland are on a Thursday.
Thursday, hafta içi oluyor. So it's weekday.
Yes, it's a weekday, it's a Thursday. So this is why the polls are open for so long, because many people are working.
Çok ilginç. Bizde her zaman pazar günü olur. So it's always Sunday.
Yeah, I guess it is in many places, but for us, no. For us, it is always, generally, it is a Thursday.
Peki diyelim ki bazı sebeplerden dolayı oyunu kullanamadın. Belki şehir dışındasın. Belki hastasın. Bu durumda ne gibi şansın var?
If you're going to be away from your home, if you're not going to be there in your area on voting day, what you can do, there are alternative ways to vote. So what we can do, and what I typically did for many years, you can apply to your local, we call it a council, or your municipality. You can apply to them for either a postal vote or a proxy vote. So the postal vote involves maybe 3 weeks before the election, they will post the ballot paper to your house with the list of candidates. So what you do is you just choose your candidate as you would do. Put the mark in the box next to your chosen candidate.
How do you mark it?
Usually an X.
Just an X. So
If it is depending on the type of election,
okay.
UK elections are what they call first past the post elections. So it is the person with the most votes that wins. That is it for the UK election. So there is only one. You just choose one. Out of, there could be 10 candidates, you will just choose one. The Scottish elections are done differently. It is a proportional voting system. So you choose your candidates in order of preference. Is if you like this person, you choose them number 1, and number 2, and number 3, and number 4, all the way down the list. until you've chosen for all your candidates.
Bir tanesi posta yoluyla oy verme. İkincisi
The second version is called a proxy vote. So again, you apply for this in advance to your local council, and you have to, the same as a postal vote, when you apply, you give them the reason that you will not be able to vote yourself.
bunu belgelemen gerekiyor mu?
So the reasons could be you could be on vacation.
Oh, it's just vacation is enough.
You could be on vacation. You could be working away from home. So if you're working in a different part of the country, you cannot travel back for the day. So if you're working in a different part of the country, if you know you're going to be in hospital, this is also reasons to use either a postal or a proxy vote. So the postal vote, we explained, they send the ballot paper to your house, but the proxy vote
What does it mean?
is you can nominate somebody to vote in your proxy, so in your place.
Bunu resmi olarak mı yapacağız? Yani notere gitmemiz mi gerekiyor? Nasıl söyleyeceğiz? Bu kişi benim yerime oy kullanabilir.
No, you need to apply to the local council, the people, the electoral register authority or something they're called. So you apply to them, and you send a copy of your ID, and you send a copy of the ID of the person that you want to give your vote to. So it could be your husband, your wife, your parent, whatever. It would have to be somebody close to you. I think it needs to be like a next of kin. You cannot just give your vote to that guy down the street. It has to be, So you would give your vote, and maybe your wife or your husband would vote in your place for you.
Okay. So, Türkiye'de vekalet vereceğimiz zaman noter yoluyla veriyoruz ama sizde notere gerek yok anladığım kadarıyla. Nasıl güveniyorsunuz? Yani postayla göndermek bizim için gerçekten çok uçuk bir fikir. Türkiye'de postayla oyumu gönderdiğimi ben düşünemiyorum.
What is done is every postal vote, when it comes to you, it has a unique reference number, it has a unique ID number. You must sign it as well to prove that it is you, because when you apply, you give a sample of your signature on the forms, so they check it, and it is referenced on the outside envelope. So it is checked, and they have checked this over and over again to make sure there is no fraud, to make sure there is no voting fraud, to make sure there's no election fraud, and the system is very, very good.
Tamam. Peki.
So what they do is all the postal votes, they can come in, and they can come in over the space of 3 weeks, and they are not opened. They are put in a sealed box, all of them put in a sealed box together, and then they will only be counted on election day.
Tamam. O zaman sayma kısmını nasıl yaptığımızı da bir anlatırsak çok sevinirim. Türkiye'de aynı anda sayılıyor. Sınıflarda kutular açılıyor ve orada sayılıyor. Müşahitler var. Onlar işte ıslak imzalı belgeler hazırlıyorlar. Sizde nasıl oluyor bu?
The system for counting all the votes is basically all these voting places. Like I think in Turkey, they are counted in the voting places. We don't do that. We have nominated counting centers. So maybe because the country is divided into constituencies or districts, so there will maybe be 1 or 2 counting centers per district. But you could have 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 different polling centers within the district. So what they do is at 10 p.m. when the voting finishes, all the votes are all in a sealed box. So the box is sealed again. It is put into the back of a car, and it is taken to the counting centre. And this is done for all the rural places, all the different the voting centres. And there could be, like I said, there could be 100 of these for one counting centre. And they will bring them all to the one place, and it is supervisors from all the different parties There is independent, everything is independently done. And it is only in these counting centres that they will open the seal under supervision. It will be checked and it will be double checked by the different parties, and everybody is happy. Okay, the seal is good, we can open this one. And then they will open the box, they will count them. Everything is supervised.
Peki kaç günde, ne kadar zamanda anons ediliyor kimin kazandığı?
Usually it depends on the size and number of votes a lot of the time, and how far they have to travel. Because in some places, in very rural communities, they could be coming from different islands, so it can take a full day, maybe 24 hours, 36 hours, sometimes before the count is complete. Because if they can close the voting place at 10 p.m. They can put it in the car. Then they maybe need to wait until the next day before there is a ferry to take the car to the main island or whatever.
Doğru, adalar var. O yüzden adalardan gelmesi de ciddi zaman alıyor, değil mi?
Yeah, and some of the communities they maybe have to take 2 ferries to go from one island to another island and then to another bigger island before they can get these votes to a counting centre. So it can take quite long. But in other places they can announce the vote within maybe 3-4 hours. Because normally the first vote, if the vote closes at 10, maybe the first results are coming through maybe 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. and then they will continue to come through the night. In the UK, it is, I guess it's quite similar to here. There is a live TV broadcast, usually on maybe 1, 2, 3 channels or 4 channels. They have all the journalists there and they're all speculating and guessing about who might have won this and who might have done that. But then as the districts announce their count, it is announced to everybody at the same time. So it is one independent, I think they call him electoral roll officer or something. So he is nominated for every district. And when the count is finished, when they are ready, he will announce the results and everybody hears it at the same time. Like, people can watch the counting going on and they can make guesses and they can look at the size of the pile of votes on the table and it's okay, right, there is the pile for the Green Party is bigger than the pile for the Yellow Party, and it's bigger than the pile for the Red Party, and so.
Bu kısmı biraz Türkiye'ye benziyor.
But the official count is only announced by one guy. There is no. They can make guesses about things, but there is only the official count that anybody goes by. And generally it's usually quite clear by maybe 6 a.m. the next morning who has won. They can say which party. For a UK election, you don't vote for the Prime Minister, you vote for the party. So you vote for your local member of Parliament in your district, and they are normally associated with the party. So in Scotland, it is traditionally the Scottish National Party that come out on top. But in England, it is very much split between the Conservative Party, who are in charge at the moment, and the Labour Party.
Peki Türkiye'deki katılım oranını nasıl buluyorsun?
The turnout, what we call the turnout, the amount of people who come out and vote, in Turkey it was much higher than it traditionally is in the UK. Because we have different types of elections in the UK. We have local council elections, we have Scottish elections, and we have UK nationwide elections. Generally for the UK and the Scottish elections, I think it's maybe 60 to 70% is the turnout, depending on the different areas. So for Turkey, I think it was almost 90%.
Evet. Türkiye'de dediğin gibi hani posta veya vekalet yöntemi yok. O yüzden de insanların o gün için mutlaka dünyanın çeşitli yerlerinden bile ülkeye gelmeleri, büyükelçiliklere gitmeleri veya Türkiye içine seyahat etmeleri gerekiyor ve bunu da yapıyorlar. Oy vermek gerçekten Türkiye'de çok büyük bir şey. İskoçya'da da oy vermek böyle çok önemli bir şey mi? Yani birbirinizi teşvik ediyor musunuz? Oy vermeyenlere ne bileyim kızıyor musunuz?
I believe it's very important to vote. I encourage my kids, I encourage my friends. I think it is very important because we are very lucky to live in a democratic country.
Yeah.
And we are very lucky to have a vote. We are lucky that everybody over the age of 18 has a vote. Male, female, it doesn't matter. Everybody has an equal vote. So it took a long time to get this, and for everybody worked hard to have the right to vote. So I think we should use it.
Evet. Bence biz de ülkemizde mutlaka kullanmalıyız. Geleceğimizi belirlerken, şansımız varken oy kullanmalıyız diye düşünüyorum. Peki seçimlerle ilgili işte birkaç tane kelime var mesela sormak istediğim. Geçersiz oy ne demek?
The spoiled vote. We can say if a vote has maybe 2 marks on it, or it is, we call it a spoiled vote.
Okay.
It is a spoiled ballot paper. So the ballot paper is the list of the candidates that you mark your number on or you mark your X on. But if it is damaged, if the paper is torn, if it is not clear, if it is not obvious which box the mark is in or the number is in, we call it a spoiled vote or spoiled ballot paper.
Teşekkür ediyorum.
You're welcome.